Short recap of what happened in the last episode. We landed in this world, got settled in, did our things, went through a little oopsie. Our colony leader Tabitha got kidnapped. Not only was she Victor's lover, but also our only social person and our only researcher. With Victor, the only person in our religion remaining and being unable to recruit anyone, this might be the end of Friends Us Next. Maybe we can recover. In the middle of all the chaos, I decided to start the Harmony Jubilee event in hopes of attracting a new colonist to join the colony. And it paid off, cause colonist Rosales found us. Though she might not be perfect, at least she shares the religion. But just as I thought things were going to start and to brighten up, Randy Random strikes again and Rosales, just as Victor, is incapable of social interaction. At least I know that Rosales will be a valuable addition to the colony because of her religion and not because she's a source of food. This is the most secretive religion. We should call ourselves Fight Club because we have a guarantee that nobody will talk about it. In an attempt to improve the colony, I carved 2 more rooms into the mountain. 1 bedroom for the girls and 1 kitchen that would later also serve as a hospital, since both rooms would benefit from being clean. I also switched the psychoid field to smoke leaf for an additional income stream as soon as I could process the leaves. Maria, who tried to replace Tabitha, isn't as terrible for the colony as I thought, but unfortunately she has the wrong religion. The mood debuff that Victor experiences due to the loss of Tabitha, the loss of the leader and the vampire as the center of our religion, drives him slowly crazy. In an attempt to improve his mood, I put lights everywhere. I know at this point I can only help him with small mood buffs, since we are just at the beginning. When explorers reported about an ambrosia sprout, I put a grow zone under it so it gets harvested automatically. More income in case we need to pay a ransom for Tabitha. I did read that ransoms are rare but very expensive. In an effort to keep the religion going, I sent Victor and Rosales hunting together, in the hopes that they would become friends. To improve the mood of the colony, I placed an indoor flower bed to make the indoors a little bit more pleasant. I tried at least. But despite all my efforts, Victor had his first tantrum and ran around destroying things. Maria, who was nearby, quickly ran after him and used the dart gun to knock him out. She then brought him back to his bed. But Victor's mood didn't improve. He woke up later puking all over the main room. I guess he didn't like my flowers. Randy Random, as always, had a surprise for me. A man-hunting Yorkshire Terrier raid. But it never actually made it to the base. But that was not all. Soon after, a pack of man-hunting hares attacked. Rosales quickly took care of them while butchering the Yorkshire Terrier from the previous raid. To keep the colony more safe, we walled in more around the colony. And as a reward for completing an earlier quest to take in a guest for 14 days, we received another colonist, Chili. Though he may not be perfect, he's a psychopath, which in Rimworld is actually a good thing. He seems to be a decent doctor. He basically spices up our mix of colonists we have. But as fate would have it, Victor was at this point on the brink of a permanent mental breakdown. It was just a matter of time before he would break again, and break he did. Wandering with the days through the map, Chili, in an effort to keep him safe, arrested him, but this led to Victor also losing his leader position. After a long sleep, Victor was released and got his leader position back immediately, but putting him into jail only added more mood debuffs. I was thinking about what would make him more happy, and since he's a recluse, it was time to make him his own bedroom. Meanwhile, Will's drug addiction was getting dangerously close to causing a drug coma, so we couldn't grow Psychoid yet. To keep our colony safe, I decided that I need a new spike trap entrance to catch raids early. I planned it out at the new outside wall. Meanwhile, Victor went berserk, trying to attack Maria, who quickly tranquilized him again. This resulted in Victor getting arrested again, losing his leadership role one more time. Maybe we should keep him locked up for longer this time. In the light of the situation, I decided to give Rosales the leadership role since she is the only other member of our religion, and for now she seems stable enough to handle it. Her first action was freeing Victor from custody. Maybe not the best idea, but her loyalty is noticed. Victor sheepishly joined Maria, full of guilt, to work on the new spike trap. At the war merchant, I sold some tainted clothing to make space in our storage room. But I also bought 2 new parkers. To distract himself in the evening, Victor started making some clothing for the colonists. Rosales tried to host another Harmony Jubilee event, since we already had so many people who were not part of our religion, and we needed more people who could convert our colonists in the Friends Are Snacks religion. But it went terrible, and everyone hated it, and the mood now was even worse. Following it, Victor had yet another tantrum, and Chili's first action was to arrest him yet again. Will, who had been suffering from not having psychot for a few days, had a mental breakdown and ran to the prison cell where Victor was held, helping him to flee. Both had to be stopped. Chili ran into the cell and gave both of them punches with a wooden lock. Will ran out, and so did Victor. Maria, who was informed about what happened, got ready with her dart gun after she heard that Victor was shooting with a bow at people in the colony. While she ran towards the house, Victor ran towards the exit into her arms. It was too late to tranquilize him. She had to melee him back into his cell. Will, who had started to realize what he had just done, helped her, and together they got Victor back into his cell. As the colony struggled to come to terms with the recent event, Rosales stepped up and fixed up Maria's wounds. Will, filled with guilt, left and wandered around the colony in a depressed state. But things took a turn for the worse when Chili started to insult everyone in the colony, blaming them for what just happened. But Rosales had enough, and just as Chili said that her food tastes like dog food, she slapped him with a pen through the face, leaving Chili laying on the floor next to his wooden lock. Maria picked him up, delivered him to his bed, and told him to never mess with a chef. With the recent events, the primary religion of the colony changed, and was this the end of Friends Are Snacks? Maria took care of some more recreational possibilities. To calm everyone down, she installed a chess table. Chassis, the demon boy who finally got recruited, thanked it with an ambrosia binge. And to be honest, at this point I really don't care about people's bad decisions, because I cannot babysit adults behaving like toddlers. And the afternoon took a turn for the worse when Rosales, the designated leader of the colony, snapped after feeling disrespected by the other colonists. Fueled with anger and armed with her inherited sword that belonged to Tabitha, Rosales turned berserk and attacked Chassis, the new colonist who was still high on ambrosia, slicing through his face with the sword. As Chassis lay on the ground screaming in pain, Rosales turned her attention to Will, who had made fun of her earlier. She hit him with the handle of the sword while he was sleeping, causing Will to flee out of the door into the free land, and Rosales followed him in her rage. Meanwhile, Maria, who was out collecting herbal medicine, heard the screaming and yelling and ran towards it, carrying her trusty dart gun. As Will saw Maria, he hid behind her, and she managed to shoot a tranquilizer arrow into Rosales' shoulder. As Rosales grew sleepier and sleepier, she tried to hit Maria but ultimately dropped to the ground. Maria picked up Rosales and carried her back to her bed. As Rosales lay tucked into her own bed, tended by Maria, she was unaware that Chassis, the colonist she had attacked first, had died from her attack. The sun was setting on the colony and the end of another day was near. Maria, the most hardworking member of the community and the person who is keeping everything together, is digging out a grave for Chassis. Just as she is about to get the corpse to bring it to the grave, she collapses in the field, her own wounds from a hard day's work taking their toll. Chili, noticing Maria's condition, rushes to her side, picks her up, carries her back inside and tends to her wounds. Victor takes the task of burying. The ceremony, quick and cold, a reflection of the colony's current state. Hurt, depressed, or on the brink of it. As the colony rests, Rosales whispers, "Victor, I had to do it," referring to the reinstation of the main religion and the colony now that Chassis is gone. A true leader in the time of crisis. But the troubles are far from over. Chili, who had been close with Chassis, falls into a drug binge and overdoses. And just as he's recovering from that, another raid from the neighboring community happens. The attacker stumbles into a corner trap and made a good dinner for that night. A transport crash lands near the colony, and the new colonist Rolf seems like a good addition to the community, and Maria, ever the caretaker, tends to his wounds. Will, still struggling without his drugs, also refusing to take them ever again, has yet another breakdown. He attacks 3 visitors who had come to the colony asking for shelter for the night. The ensuing scuffle leaves Will injured and the visitors shaken. With a lack of medical beds, the bedroom is converted into a makeshift hospital, and the colonists are left to sleep on the ground. But the visitors' injuries are not the only thing to be concerned about. Due to the unsanitary conditions, 2 of the guests developed infections. One in the arm, the other one in the torso. And despite the best efforts of the doctors, the infection spreads and ultimately the patient with a torso infection passes away. Chili, desperate to save the other patient, decides to amputate the infected arm. The surgery is successful and the infection is now fully under control. The colony finally calms down. Will slowly heals and the injured guests recover. The colony takes a small respite to plan for bigger things. Rebuilding and then recovering friends as next. It's been a wild ride so far, but the question on everyone's mind is, will the colony ever catch a break? Will Tabitha finally grace us with her presence again? And the million-dollar question, will Snacks Are Friends rise from the ashes like a phoenix? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, we ain't dead yet and we ain't giving up that easy. Keep an eye out for the next episodes of Happy Cannibal Pyres, and let's see if we can finally turn things around.